And we've been talking about money the last couple of weeks. Today's the last day. How many of you have it, need it, want it, or ever hope to have anything to do with it? Say aye. Fairly safe topics, over 500 verses on the subject, giving you 9 rules for managing your money. The series is called Spent. 3 stages of life. There's the learning stage where we earn it, learn it, and tithe it. And then there's the living stage, that was last week, save it, pay it, invest it. Then there's the legacy years, that's where we enjoy it, share it, and leave it. And that's where we are now. How do you know if you're in the legacy stage of life? What is a telltale sign that's infallible, 100% accurate all the time, that you are there, that you're at legacy stage? There are a lot of thoughts. You know, gray hair, weight, midlife paunch, surgeries, Rice Krispie knees when you get out of bed. You know, they snap, crackle, pop. Those are all symptoms of legacy, but I'm going to tell you there is absolute one perfect, infallible way to know you are at the legacy stage of life. If you have visited or joined ARP. There it is. Those little red letters. You know you're getting old when Brad Pitt and Jeff Gordon are poster boys for ARP. ARP, there it is. So that's it. If you're looking at it or joining, you remember when you were 50 and they start sending it to you and you're insulted. Why are they sending this to me? And then when you're 51, you're not throwing them as fast, 52, 53, and 54. Well, what do they want? Then you go to the website. And then you go, man, for $12.50, I get all these benefits? I got to do that. How did I know that it was $12.50? I'm a card-carrying member now, so me and Jeff Gordon. Now, those are the stages. There's another way to tell you're in the legacy stage, and we learn it from a priest, a preacher, and a rabbi. You say it sounds like a joke. It is. Priest, preacher, and rabbi were talking about when does life begin. The priest said he believes that life begins at conception. The preacher said he believes that life begins at implantation. And the rabbi said, you're both wrong. Life begins when the last child moves out and the family dog dies. So either way, you should know whether you're in the legacy stage. 66 books in the Bible, all of them inspired by God, ordained by God. They're God's word to us. Some teach us by example, some by instruction, some by warning. The absolute best book for legacy, age, and stage people is called Ecclesiastes. If you have your Bibles, open or tap them to Ecclesiastes 5. Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived, wrote 3 books that are in the Bible. He wrote Proverbs for young adults and teenagers. Here's how to live your life right, just a lot of one-liner lessons for daily living. Then he wrote Song of Solomon to teach married couples how to have intimacy within a marriage relationship. And then he wrote Ecclesiastes, which means the teacher. He writes that at his legacy stage of life. If you know anything about Solomon, I mean, worldwide he's known, the wisest man that ever lived. God gave him wisdom. He did some incredible things in his life. And then he did some incredibly stupid things in his life. But the nice thing about Solomon is he writes his legacy book, Ecclesiastes. He lets us in on his successes and his failures. So he doesn't give us this pie in the sky, everything's great. But he shows us what really counts in life. It's a 20-minute read. 2 groups ought to read this book this day or this week. First are those of us that are in that legacy stage, because you'll relate to a lot of what Solomon says. And the second are anybody that you know that thinks life is just a waste of time. Why do we all do this? This is all useless and all of that. If you know someone that's saying that, life's just a waste of time, light up and say, I can't believe you just said that. Because there's a book in the Bible written for you. The very first verses say, life is a waste of time. And Solomon starts with that journey. And he takes us through his roller coaster experience, teaches us a lot about money, and then he teaches us at the end of this book, here's the sum of everything I've learned. Fear God and keep his commandments. This is the whole duty of man. For everyone will give an account of their life to the Lord. And he talks about money because he had so much of it. So let's look at 3 lessons that he gives us. The first one is enjoy it. Let me hear you say enjoy it. When you go to lunch today or this week and you tell somebody you went to church, and they go, I don't go to church, and all they do is preach at you and tell you don't do this and don't do that. You just say, not our church. Our church's message this week was enjoy your life. Look at Ecclesiastes 5, verse 18. This is a theme that Solomon goes over and over. About 5 or 6 times he covers this idea, says it different ways, but this is the best one that he says in the whole section. Verse 18, he said, even so I have noticed one thing, at least that is good. It is good for people to eat, drink, and enjoy their work under the sun during the short life God has given them, and to accept their lot in life. And it is a good thing to receive wealth from God and the good health to enjoy it. To enjoy your work and accept your lot in life. This is indeed a gift from God. God keeps such people so busy enjoying life that they take no time to brood over the past. There are a lot of mountains in this world that we look up to and think if we could ever get to the top of those mountains, then we'd be happy, we'd be successful, we'd be content. For some, it's a mountain of money. When I have this much money, I'll be happy. For others, it's success. When I'm this successful, that'll be joy and happiness for me. For others, it's relationships. When I find a man or a woman like this, that'll be my dream come true. For others, it's adventure or possessions. When I have a house or lake house or toys and all the stuff. We have all these mountains, and most of them we never climb up. We spend our lives in the valley just looking. And they kind of give us hope to think if we ever did, that would be it. Solomon climbed all of those mountains. And he comes back down to the valley to speak to normal people like you and I. And he said, you know what? The blessings of life is this. Enjoy what you do. Enjoy what you eat and drink. Enjoy the people you hang around. If you will learn to enjoy who you are and quit trying to be somebody else. If you will enjoy what you do. He says that is a gift from God, and God keeps such people so busy enjoying life that they don't have time to brood over the past. So he commends unto us the enjoyment of life. But then Solomon says this. He said, I have seen a terrible tragedy, a sickening tragedy, one that plagues all of humanity. And then anytime the Bible gives you a tragedy that's so heavy that plagues the humanity and it's sickening, it ought to pay attention to it. It's in chapter 6, verse 1, right after he talked about enjoying life. He said, there's another serious tragedy I have seen under the sun, and it weighs heavily on humanity. God gives some people great wealth and honor and everything they could ever want, but then he doesn't give them the chance to enjoy these things. They die. And someone else, even a stranger, ends up enjoying their wealth. This is a meaningless and sickening tragedy. You need to enjoy what God gives you along the way. Verse 9 of that chapter, I love it. He says, enjoy what you have rather than desiring what you don't have. Just dreaming about nice things is meaningless, like chasing the wind. Message is clear. This is the life you've got. Enjoy it. If there was ever a stage to enjoy life, it is the legacy stage. Your kids are grown and gone. They're out there doing fine. Your parents hopefully are still happy and healthy and you're not having to care for them. So there's this little window of time where things are going good. That's what I'm talking about today. That's what you need to do. You need to enjoy the moments of life. You need to go do the things you've been wanting to go do. You need to go see the people, do the tours, the trips, the mission trips. If you got a girl who's graduated from high school this year and she doesn't have a chance and you want to sponsor her in college, this is the time and the season to do that. You're there. You have arrived. You've worked hard. You managed your money. You saved it. You set it aside. You've paid all the bills. You've done everything right. And so I commend unto you, like Solomon, the enjoyment of life. If you die and I speak at your funeral, what I would tell you is, actually I wouldn't tell you, you're dead. What I will tell the people that are at your funeral is what I tell most people at funerals. And that is, Go and enjoy the moments of life. You may not live to 65 or 70 or 75. You may get there and be so broken and bent and unhealthy that you can't enjoy. So do not come to the end of your life without enjoying all the moments along the road of life. Take your vacation days, go see and do the things you want to see and do. I can tell you from personal experience, it is as much fun looking back on a life of experiences and joy and fellowship and vacation and family time as it is looking forward to something that you may or may not get to. Enjoy the road of life. Legacy is the stage to do that. Let me tell you why. Because after legacy comes dependency. And after dependency comes death. You go, whoa, got your attention? Good. Start enjoying life along the journey. Let me hear you say, enjoy it. Solomon says it over and over and over, and it's not the wealth that makes it happen, it's the joy there. The second thing that we learn from him is share it. Let me hear you say, share it. Now, we've been preaching this, and Jesus said, given will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. People that are generous have discovered this. People that aren't generous haven't. And the people that aren't generous think that the people who are generous are just trying to talk them into giving them their money, and that's not the case. Being generous and sharing is what keeps you alive. It's what gives you joy. It's what gives you happiness. Here's the way Solomon put it in chapter 5, verse 10. He said, those who love money will never have enough. How meaningless to think that wealth brings true happiness. The more you have, the more people come to help you spend it. So what good is wealth except perhaps to watch it slip through your fingers? Anybody notice that? The more money you have, the more people come to help you spend it. Read the articles of these people that win these lotteries. I mean, they discover relatives they never knew existed. I'm your 10th cousin on your stepmother's side, 4th time removed. Oh, yeah, can I borrow $1,000? So that's what Solomon says. So you want all this money? Everybody just comes to help you spend it. Then he goes on to say this in verse 13. There's another serious problem I have seen under the sun, and mark this. Hoarding riches harms the Savior. Hoarding riches harms the Savior. Sharing, generosity, you're at that age and stage of life. Share it with whomever God puts on your heart, your adventure. One of the people that I love quoting is Michael Bloomberg, and he said, if you want to fully enjoy life, give. Jesus said, give and it'll be given unto you. I asked a friend of mine, his name is Harvey Najum. Harvey is the most generous man that I know personally. And I know a lot of generous people, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and people like that, but I don't know them personally. But Harvey, I know personally. Harvey has done well in life. And Harvey has given away in San Antonio $65 million to over 200 different children's organizations and ministries and services. And he's still going strong. $65 million to children's ministries and services in this city. That is pretty impressive. I called him this week. I said, I'm going to use you as a story with your permission because you don't want a guy giving that kind of money away getting mad at you. So I said, Harvey, why do you give away so much money? And I loved his answer. He said, I have been blessed by God with much success. He wants me to make a difference in the lives of children who are less fortunate. You can go to his website, Najum Family Foundation. The 200 organizations. If you're wondering, what are we doing in the city for children, go to Harvey's website. They sponsored it all. But that's one guy doing one thing. Red McCombs is real generous. I just read an article on him, and he's had his own wealthy buddies say, why do you give so much money away? And I loved his answer. He said, because I enjoy it. Pretty cool. Generosity doesn't have to be millions and billions of dollars. Generosity and sharing could be you giving your presence to somebody, not P-R-E-S-E-N-T, but P-R-E-S-E-N-C-E, presence. Be there with them, talk to them, listen to them. There's an elderly person in your neighborhood. Just get in the habit of going and just sitting to them. Take them some baked goods or something and just listen. Maybe you're a good musician. Maybe you can play the violin or the cello or all of that. You can share that. I mean, we're in the lobby. Just set it up, crank it up, and go if you're good. If you're not, go to the practice room. But if you're good, remember that guy a few weeks ago in the Paris tragedy? In the midst of this disastrous tragedy, this guy rolls a piano out on the sidewalk and just starts playing, and the crowd is just soaking it up. That's sharing. Sharing your time, sharing your knowledge, your experience, your abilities, your hard mistakes, the things you've learned right. Share your life. Share your money, share your time, share your experiences. Don't wait till your legacy to start sharing. Don't think, well, when I'm there, then I'll start doing that. Learn the joys of giving all along the way. I bet most of you don't know Eli or Edith Broad, do you? Eli Broad? Does anybody in this room know who Eli Broad is? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Very good. So you learn trivial things like this so you can go to your office tomorrow and amaze everybody. And you can look at them like they're idiots. You don't know Eli Broad? You're kidding. He's the only man in history who has started 2 Fortune 500 companies in separate industries. Nobody ever starts one, hardly. This guy has started 2 in different industries. He's still alive. He gives away, he and Edith give away billions of dollars. Eli Broad figured out with his partner back in the early 50s how they could build really affordable housing for families who were spending money renting a 2-bedroom apartment. And they figured out how to build a house and give somebody a mortgage that was cheaper than they were paying on their rent. So he's the father of affordable housing. Eli Broad. His partner was Kaufman. You might know the name as Kaufman Broad, or you may just know it as the bright yellow signs in cities around the country, KB Homes. Well, that's a great story, isn't it? But he and Edith have given away billions of dollars, not millions, not thousands. And I love what they ask whenever they give money to somebody or some institution or whatever. 3 questions they ask. Here they are. Will this happen without us? If it will, they don't give to it. Will it make a difference 20 to 30 years from now? So they're investing in the future and the betterment of society. And then he says, is the leadership in place to make it happen? Now, they give a lot to the arts and things like that. Whether you give to the arts or to animals or to world peace or sanitation or water wells or housing, doesn't really matter. Whatever it is you're good at, whatever God burns on your heart, just get in the habit of being generous and sharing there. I watched a movie last night. It was a Christmas movie. It's a new one. It's called It's a Wonderful Life. Got home after church and was just kind of channel surfing, was getting ready to watch football, and then I saw It's a Wonderful Life. No, I'll watch the first few minutes of it. I've seen it so many times, and I watched it, kind of got hooked. And then the commercial came, and I stayed around, and then it kept going. I thought, wow, this is, I just love seeing George Bailey dig up out of, make it. So, but the Lord did it for a purpose. I'm sitting there watching the show, and then on the wall was this magnificent quote on wealth. And so God put my eyes on that. I've seen the movie all my days, and it's the first time I saw it. And here's what it said. It was awesome. You can only take with you that which you have given away. You got to give it away. You got to share it. You can't take it with you. Learn to get in the habit of sharing. Now, first one is enjoy it. Second one is share it. And the third one is leave it. Let me hear you say leave it. This is the last of all of our deals, leaving it behind. Here's what Solomon says about money. Verse 13, the serious problem, hoarding riches harms the Savior. Money is put into risky investments that turn sour, and everything is lost. In the end, there is nothing left to pass on to one's children. We all come to the end of our lives as naked and empty-handed as on the day we were born. We can't take our riches with us. You ever heard the expression, you can't take it with you? How many of you knew it was Solomon that said that 2,900 years ago? People have been quoting him all this time. So next time someone says, you can't take it with you, you say, you're right. You can only take with you that which you have given away. All you can take with you. Now, in the leaving it piece, he says the tragedy, if you die and you leave it behind and someone else enjoys your wealth, so not enjoying it is a tragedy, not sharing it is a tragedy. And then he says not having something to leave to your children and your children's children is a tragedy. Solomon would write it this way in Proverbs. He said, a wise person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. Leaving it behind is key. You can't take it with you. Here's an interesting number for some of you. Between the years 2007 and 2061, there will be $59 trillion passed to the next generation through inheritance. $59 trillion passed to the next generation. Leaving it is really important. Your legacy years, you get it, you keep it. Wealthy, let me define wealthy for you again. I might have forgot to do this. The financial world, they generally define a wealthy person as someone who has $5 million or more of discretionary net income, disposable income. Dare I ask how many of us are wealthy by that category? Let me give you another category that's a little more helpful. You're wealthy when you can live comfortably off the money your money makes. You're wealthy when you can live comfortably off the money your money makes. If you've got a pension and a retirement and you got some savings there, you're wealthy. You don't ever have to go to work again. You're living comfortably off the money your money makes. Two things happen when you learn to live off the money your money makes. One is you'll never run out of money, because you're only living off what your money makes and you're living comfortably. And number two, you will have something to leave to your children and your children's children. The United States government gives you a tax-exempt gift that you can pass on to your generations. Right now, the number is $5.4 million. You can pass that on to your kids without any estate taxes. Above $5.4 million, the taxes go really fast up to a maximum of 40%. Let me repeat that, 40%. But the government is moving that number up all the time because the whole world knows there's a ton of money. We got to get it down into the next generation. So here's what you need to do on the leaving it. You've used it, you've enjoyed it, you're getting at that stage, so you learn to leave it to the next generation. Jesus told a story about it. It's called the prodigal son. Father had two sons. The compliant firstborn did everything right and was that compliant firstborn. And then the wild child secondborn. Well, the wild child goes to dad and say, hey, I want my share of the inheritance now, which in Jewish law was not much. The older brother got most of it. But the little brother wanted to take it, and so the father gave it to him. Now, there's nothing in the Bible that says you're supposed to give money to a foolish child. And look at all the foolish children going, shh, shh. Nothing in the Bible says that, but Jesus tells this story because it's got several points. But one of them is this foolish son goes out with all of his possessions and he leaves home. He's going to strike out on his own. He blows his money on parties and wild living. And then he's broke. When you're broke, your friends are gone. Now he's feeding pigs and remembers his dad's servants have it better than he does. So he comes to his senses. I'm going to go home and tell my dad, Father, I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. I just want to be hired on as one of your servants. It was a good thing. He held good to it. He goes home. Dad sees him, grabs him and hugs him, and the son said what he had planned. Father, I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. I would like to be hired on as one of your servants. Father hugs him, brings him in, and says, no way. Here's a suit. Here's a new shoes. Here's a big ring. And here's a fatted calf that we've been saving up for a special occasion. Let's celebrate. And they throw a big party. Of course, all the employees were happy because they got off work early. Celebrating, the little brother has come back. Well, big brother's out in the field. He comes home. He hears the party. He asks the servants, what's going on? And they said, oh, your little brother's back. Now, how do you think you would feel if you were the big brother? Yeah, same as he did. What? Yeah, your father's killed the fatted calf and we're all celebrating. Come on in. I'm not going in there. Father comes out and says, what's wrong? I said, what's wrong? He said, this son of yours has squandered all of your money on prostitutes and wild living. He comes back and you throw him a party and you give him the fatted calf and all of this stuff. He said, I've been with you all these years. I've done everything you said to do. I've not wasted anything, and you haven't done anything for me or my friends. Not once have you acknowledged any of that. You know the story, how it ends up. The father says, well, we have to rejoice because your brother is back. He says to his older son, my son, all that I have is yours, including my newest servant, your little brother. But he said, we have to rejoice because he's back. He once was lost, but now he's found, was blind, but now he sees. Now the father, it's not a real story, it's a parable, but he did two things. One was he gave money to a foolish child. Do not do that. If you got a child that doesn't know how to work or manage money, they go to those 9 rules and they figure, hey, mom or dad are loaded. We got oil royalties coming in for the rest of our lives, and oil money never runs out, does it? Or dries up. If you got one of those, you don't owe them a dime. If they're counting on all of your money coming to them and they're not working or managing or doing anything right, you would do the world a service by not giving your hard-earned, well-managed money to a fool who's going to blow it on a red Ferrari and wild parties and come back, just empty, okay? And all the sons and daughters are getting mad at me. Shh, don't. You don't owe it to them. You owe it to the smart kids, the ones that manage it well, the ones that you can trust. Do not be like the parents that keep it all hidden and then a day before you die say, oh, by the way, here's what we got. Walk with them through the process. Most parents are afraid if my child knows how much they've got or going to get, they won't work. That's part of the deal on the giving. You connect it to their working, to their getting their education, to their keeping a job, to their doing something. There's all kinds of people that'll help you. Like Solomon said, when you have money, people come out of the woodwork to help you spend it. So don't give your money to the foolishness. Give it to that which produces, like the Broads do. You can give it to your kids if they're smart. Give it to your school. Give it to the church of your choice. Let me repeat that again. It sounded so good. Give it to the church of your choice. Some of it, all of it, none of it, doesn't matter. It's yours. God has given it to you. He'll show you. But give wisely, not foolishly. And on the other side of this, if you're on the receiving end, be smart with whatever it is you get. Don't think this is God's gift to you to go out and blow your life. Be wise and invest it like the Broads do in things that are going to make a difference. Another mistake the father made is he didn't do point number 1. He didn't enjoy as well. He had a firstborn, great kid, stayed home, did everything right, and nowhere in that life did the father celebrate his son. Enjoy your wealth with your children. If you have a compliant child, firstborn, secondborn, whichever, and they haven't given you a moment's trouble, you haven't had to bail them out of jail. They haven't had to use lawyers or counselors. They've just been that child that's lived right. How many of you have had one or have one like that? Raise your hand. And look at the kids looking. Why don't you raise your hand, mother? If you've got one of those, celebrate. Enjoy life with them. And all the compliant children said? Yeah. And how do you keep from making somebody bitter when a little brother blows it all? You've honored that good life. My son or daughter, you're so awesome. Thank you. Where do you want to go? Trips, whatever. I want to enjoy our life and our wealth with you now. Thank you so much for not causing us any trouble. And then the wild child says, what about me? And you say, yes. What about you? Anyway, those are the keys there. Leave it wisely. And that's 3 documents you need to have signed. First one is your will. Hopefully, if you have a will signed, would you all together say, I do? Very good. If you don't say anything. But if you're grown up and you got any kind of assets, accounts, any of that stuff, get a will. Even if you don't have much, get a simple will. You can go to LegalZoom or one of those others, type in your stuff, spit it out, and now you got a will. Keeps your stuff from getting all taken in probate and all that. But get a will, simple at least. If you got houses and cars and other stuff, then it gets a little more complicated. Get an estate attorney. They're excellent at what they do. If you've got a will and you've got wealth built up, get some trusts put into place. Those revocable trusts, irrevocable trusts, generation skipping trusts, based off of what Proverbs says, a wise person leaves an inheritance to their children's children. A lot of stuff there. I'm not the expert, but you got an estate lawyer in your life. Find them and let them write that stuff up for you. So you get your will, which is basic, 101. You get your trust set up so you know that's done. And then you sign your life insurance papers. Get as much as you can for as long as you can. Get it while you're young and healthy. Get term life. Dave will talk about that. The others will too as you study it. But get term life, long, all you can get. You say, well, I don't need $5 million. If you can get $5 million and it's a level premium for 20 years, take it. Or if it's $1 million or $2 million, just get some. Life insurance is there, so when you die, there's money that comes in that pays for the house, the cars, the tuition, or the college, or it allows your spouse to live comfortably, or debt's paid off. That's all it is. You pay a little money every year, and if you win, you get a big sum of money. And if you lose, you just paid a bunch of money for 20 years and never won the jackpot. It's a strange game. You see, the insurance company is betting that you are going to live. You're betting that you're going to die. If you're right, your family is really happy. If you're wrong, the insurance company is really happy. So you get that, and eventually your net worth, is more than your insurance, and then you don't need it anymore. But that's the way that game's played. Take good care of your wealth that God gives you, whether it's a little, small, large, whatever. Remember, he says, to enjoy what you have is a gift from God. 9 rules of managing your money. Here they are. Earn it, learn it, tithe it. Save it, pay it, invest it. Enjoy it, share it, and leave it. Those principles work if you'll put them to work. I was blessed this week. My youngest son, Jonathan, he's in medical sales, and he was in the hospital and doing what medical sales people do. And somebody else was there that had gone to church here last week and said, hey, I went to hear your dad's money talk. And he said, I'm not really sure how to do all that brokerage stuff. I'm nervous about it. And Jonathan said, well, I'll show you how. Really? Yeah. So after the surgery, they're in surgery talking about money. You're in there thinking everybody's giving you their undivided attention, aren't you? No, they give you their attention until you go 99, 98, 97. Now the music cranks up and everybody's just going to, that's probably more than you want to know about the surgery room. But anyway, they get out, they go to Fidelity, he opens an account, he starts buying that Vanguard mid-cap blend fund. And the guy said, that's it? And Jonathan said, yeah, it's not that complicated. If you know somebody that's like that, or you need somebody, folks, get it going. Get it going. The Bible says if you make your wealth grow little by little, then you become wealthy. Those are the 9 principles. The last 3 today: enjoy it, share it, and leave it wisely to the generations to follow.